So as you can see, Matt's all dressed up here to go in the woods. Normally I don't go with Matt, but Matt got his first deer, which is really, really great. But in the process, he lost his new glasses. So we're gonna go up the mountain and see if we can find them.
Now they run, fool around, and then come down and went way down in yonder. But I don't know if I can retrace exactly through this thicket, you know. We'll just have to do the best we can do. Yeah.
That's the last place you remember is down there?
Well, I think I had them on my face down in here, and then if I'd have took them off, I'd have just hooked them on my shirt, and it wasn't far over here to where I found the deer. And I've already looked back to there, so.
So should we look down there first before we start this thicket stuff?
That'd be the easiest thing to do, I guess. It just, I don't know. That's what we'll do.
Nothing so far.
Take down these bars right here.
No luck on this little stretch where we looked. Well, we searched the easy places. Now we're going to start looking for the harder places where he was looking for the deer, where he might have dropped them. No luck yet. But look at this massive ivy. Look how huge it is. Look at that. Gosh. Just a massive specimen of ivy. Mountain laurel is what it's technically called, but lots of people in Appalachia call it ivy. It's just huge. Matt said they could even be in the creek right here, but I don't see them anywhere. Matt, actually, we don't have to go back down there.
You found them?
I found them.
Where was that?
Right here.
Walked right by them, didn't you?
Yep.
Cool. Good deal. I'm out of the doghouse with you now.
Yep.
Maybe.
Matt said we'll walk down here where he'd already looked, and then we'd go tackle the terrible thicket. I've been praying this whole time, so I figured I believe that's an answered prayer right there. God found them for us.
Well, that's good. I'm glad we found them. And I don't have to undergo your scrutiny anymore and your disappointment in me losing them.
I guess you're glad you can see too.
Yeah.
The whole time we've been looking for them, I'd say something about, let's see this or whatever. I asked Matt, like, what dug all this dirt up? He said, I don't know, because I can't see.
Well, I can see a little bit now, so that's good.
We're headed back home now. Well, I don't know who's happier, Matt or me.
Nah, probably you.
I was worrying about that money. That cost a lot of money to buy those glasses.
It did.
Matt's happy he can see again. Of course, he would worry about the money too, but not as much as I would.
I felt bad because you were distressed about it. And I felt bad about losing the money too if you couldn't find them. But
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
I think I will transport them in a different manner from this point forward.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Probably on my head.
Yeah, you got a little friend there crawling on you. Probably on your head.
Yeah, I just had them in the woods.
Oh, you mean on your actually wearing them?
Yeah, I mean in the.
I was gonna say, well, on your head they'd fall off too, but you meant on your face.
Yeah, on my face.
Yeah.
Maybe duct taped.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You'd put them in your collar.
Yeah, I'd shove them down in my shirt there like I was, and that'll be a hard habit to break because I've done it for so many years with my readers. But they don't cost but $3 or $4, and it don't matter if you lose them or not.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we found them.
I am
Although
too.
if we hadn't, I wouldn't have been mad at Matt. I just felt bad about it, but I wouldn't have been mad at him. I've lost plenty of things in my life, and it's just something we do as humans. Sometimes lose stuff. What you looking at?
Yeah, I'm just hearing something. I
That
don't know
was-
if it was a snake or the cat.
That was me. I think it was me. But I've definitely lost stuff, so I couldn't be mad at Matt.
Yeah, I lost a absolute favorite pocket knife one time sledding in the snow years and years ago, and I never found it, and that bothered me for a long time. And it was not an expensive knife or a particularly good knife, but I really, really liked it for some whatever reason. And it was out in the middle of a big field, and we were on an inner tube being pulled by a Jeep, just around and around and around, and just if you'd finally sling off of it, and we thought that was fun. And it was in my pocket, and it at some point had come out, and I never found it. When the snow melted, I went back and looked for it, but I never found it.
I lost something I still think about that I lost was when I graduated high school. In those days, when you were, I don't know how it is now, but in those days when you were a senior, sometimes by that point you had all your credits you needed. So you got to get out early, and they did that so that you would, you could go ahead and get a job, and I had a job, so I could get out of, I don't remember, but I didn't even go to lunch, I don't think, and I didn't even have enough classes to get to lunch when I was a senior. And one of the classes I took, though, that year was art, and I only took it because I needed an elective, and whoever at high school told me to take it or whatever. I never did consider myself very arty in those days. But I had a really great teacher, Miss Harkins, and she really encouraged all of us and really taught, and I learned how to draw some stuff. So I was really proud of my whole, all the things I drew that year, from hands to seashells to whatever. But the most thing I was the proudest of, and Miss Harkins helped me with it, that's why it turned out so good, but was a drawing of Pap's marine picture, and it was just so good. It was just because she helped me, it was so good. Anyway, in the hub of graduating and doing this and doing that, and you're done with high school, and somehow I lost it. I don't know if I left it in the back of somebody's car. I thought maybe that was it, and of course it didn't mean nothing to them, and they threw it away. I don't know. But I still have secret hopes that someday when I have to, I don't want Granny, nothing to happen to Granny, but someday when I clean out her house, I would find it somewhere down there that maybe she stuck it somewhere and none of us remembered where it was at. I don't know. More recently, what's it been, like 2 years maybe? I lost the car keys. I know I had them because I drove myself home, so I had to have them. I had my car, when me and Matt bought it, had 2 sets of car keys, and 1 set we just had put up, just in case. So that set, I had to come home with them or I couldn't have got home. And never to this day have we found them. Never. So now we have 1 set.
They're here somewhere.
I don't know if they're here. I went through the trash. I looked. I just don't know. I don't know where they could be or what could have happened to them. But that really bothered me. I looked for days, and then I'd get mad, and then I'd look again, and then I'd get mad, and then I was depressed about it, and because I knew they had to be here. I drove myself. I couldn't have got home if I'd lost them somewhere else. But I looked in all the coat pockets and things like that, but still ain't found them to this day.
That's easy to do.
Yeah. So I've definitely lost things. One time, I don't know if Matt remembers this or not, he was working on my washing machine. And I don't remember what was wrong with it, but it needed the, like the twister thing, the control changed. And somehow we got one, and Matt was going to change it, and then we lost it. And we looked, and I needed the washing machine desperately, really more than I needed those car keys since I had the other one. But we looked, and I was mad. Corey and Katie was little. I was just mad at myself. I didn't know if Matt lost it. We both looked. We couldn't find it. And it was the funniest thing about that. So I'd laid it on the counter, and then we had laid something on top of it that had like a sticky place on it. So every time we picked that, I thought that's where we'd laid it, and I kept picking up stuff and looking, and every time we picked that up, it was stuck to the bottom of it, so you couldn't see it. Do you remember that?
I don't.
And then you would, and lay it back down, and I don't know how I finally turned it over, and it was there where I thought it was. It was just stuck to it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I wouldn't have been mad at Matt for losing his glasses. I was disappointed about and wanting him to find them, but I wasn't mad about it.
Well,
you've had a real start to your deer season, though.
Yeah.
The first morning, Matt got chased out by a bear. And then he lost in the dark,
yeah.
And then he lost his glasses. So you've had a real. But you did get a deer, though. That's good. But
yeah. But it's just kind of an unconventional way. I wasn't hunting like I normally do. I just kind of bumbled upon that one.
Yeah.
But that's good, though. I mean, we got a little meat.
And we found your glasses.
Found my glasses. It's been really weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Talking about those car keys, I didn't used to lose them. That's the only set I ever lost. But I used to lock mine in my cars when I was in like high school. And I did that so many times in those days. The local police would come, and what is those things they use to slide down in there and unlock it?
Yeah.
I don't guess they could even do that today on new cars, and they quit doing it because so many people ask them to do it, and then turned around and tried to sue them for damaging their car.
Mm-hmm.
But in those days, they would come and do it.
They called them a Slim Jim,
yeah,
maybe?
something like that. They pretty much knew my name when I called because I did it so many times. And I finally got to where I would not even call Daddy and tell him because he got so mad at me for doing it.
I think I've done that 2 times.
Oh my gosh, I went through a spell of doing it.
I think I've done it twice in my whole life. Best I can remember.
Now,
One of the times I ended up... I went out to get in the truck, and the truck door was locked, and I couldn't find my keys on me, and then I looked in there, and there they hung, and I thought, my goodness, what am I going to do? And it's about to storm, and it did. And I was at somebody's house, and after the rain let up a little bit, and it was after dark, I got a coat hanger and was going to go out, and eventually did get the keys out, but got the coat hanger and went out on the porch, and they had a real slick porch, somehow or another, wood porch, but it was really, really slick, and I went down to the first or second step and slipped and turned my ankle 90 degrees over, and I thought it was broke.
oh my gosh.
And I couldn't walk on it for days. And I was out there hopping around one-footed trying to get those keys out, and it hurt so bad it was about to make me sick. And ended up, it was an old truck, it had the little triangle window, little wind winder, and I noticed it was not fastened, so I got it open, and I bent a hook and a coat hanger and run it all the way across from the passenger side and hooked the key ring and drug them out. And then spent several days, and probably best I can remember 2 or 3 weeks, just not hardly being able to walk on that foot. And I didn't go to the doctor. I don't guess it broke it, but it took longer than that. But it was
just a real bad sprain.
And it swelled, and it turned ugly colors, and had to stand on one foot to get my keys out.
Oh gosh. You remember the little EXP that I had when I met you? Now there was a way that you could undo the trunk on that. Remember that, and get the keys out. So when I got that car, I didn't call Daddy. I got somebody to open the trunk for me, if somebody had a screwdriver, and crawl in and get them. Paul did that too, though. He went through heat in high school. Both of us, we must have just lost our minds in high school of locking his in his car.
Yeah.
One time, me and Paul both done this. I'll tell on both of us. I think it was like after a ball game or something. He'd set his cleats and everything on top of his car, and then he drove off.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they were there. And one time when I worked at, I was in high school too, worked at Cato's. This is just so, I can't even believe I was this dumb or how I would do this. So there's no way I could be mad at Matt for losing his glasses, the stuff I've done. But when I would come out from work and get in the car, I would just always throw my pocketbook in the back seat, like behind the seat, and I apparently threw it under the car and didn't notice. It's crazy, I know. So then I get home and don't have it, and, you know, and the worst part was, of course, I had my license and that kind of stuff. I didn't have credit cards or nothing in those days, but it had my check in it that I just got paid. And I was like, I will never, you know, and I was just so bummed about it. And Granny and Pap, you know, tell me, well, I should have been more careful and should watch what I'm doing. But it'd be all right, you know, I just have to get my license, all that stuff you'd have to get. But then somebody called me and they had it. And it was those people, I can't remember, Matt, when you first moved out here, if they were still there, but on 141 that had all the hubcaps,
Yeah.
they're not there now, it's gone.
That.
They had it, and they told me if I'd just come to their house, told me where they lived, and I mean, everybody here would know that, and that they'd keep it for me, and I went and got it, and everything's just like it was, you know, my check was in it and all that, so that was so kind of them.
Good, honest people.
Yeah, but why in the world I threw it under the car? Who would know? Just crazy. And then just not paying attention, you know.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Just not really watching what you're doing.
So I've lost all kinds of stuff. But I sure am glad we found Matt's glasses.
Me too.
You have to leave us a comment and tell us if you lost things and if you found them, or if you're like me in the sketchbook, you still mourn them all these years later. I've been out of high school a long time, but I still think about that and think about how that picture of Pap was so perfect. And my nephew Ben, actually, when he took art, he did the same thing. And his is not lost. It's hanging in Granny's living room. And it's good too, but I don't think it's as good as mine. Ben might argue with me, but of course I can't prove it to him.
Yeah,
But
you
it's
can claim
good.
anything when there's no proof.
Yeah, I know. I can claim anything when there's no proof. And it might not, all these years later, if I could see it, I might think, well, that ain't as good as what I thought. But in my mind, it's awful, awful good. We're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia, even when Matt loses his glasses, right?
Yeah.